Bharath Lingam, and I'm the CEO of XCube Labs. XCube Labs is a leading digital strategy advisory and new product development firm. And I'm so excited to be here with Mark and Jason of Panini. So Mark, Jason, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Mark Warsop. I'm very excited to be here. I'm the CEO of Panini America, and we're looking forward to talking about our new digital strategy.
Hi, I'm Jason Howarth. I'm the VP of Marketing for Panini America, and we're looking forward to talking to XCube.
Hey Mark, hey Jason, how are you guys doing today?
Excellent.
We're so excited to have you here at our office in Hyderabad, and we want to understand more about how Panini grew and evolved as a company. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can just provide a little bit of background about yourself as well as the the company, what the core area of the the business is,
right?
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So the Panini Group was formed in 1961, mm-hmm. and the backbone of the business has always been sticker collections, predominantly sport, and started with soccer in Italy, with a collection called Calciatori, which in Italian simply means players. Mm-hmm. And originally the business started by inserting the single stickers into newspapers to try and sell more newspapers, and the stickers became more popular than the newspaper. Mm-hmm. So then the stickers started to be packaged in blind packets, mm-hmm. In Italy, and then that business grew all the way through Europe. The Panini business, had been the number one collectibles company in the world for many years, but one of the markets that we'd really never penetrated before was the North American market with this US-style trading card product. Up until 2009, when we acquired the assets of a Texas-based business called Don Russ, mm-hmm. who was probably at the time the third largest trading card manufacturer in the US. Mm-hmm. So we acquired the assets of that business, and since then I've grown that category phenomenally through various different types of mechanics. Number one, the business is predominantly license-based, so you need to grow your business through acquiring licenses, mm-hmm. NFL, NBA, mm-hmm. baseball, hockey, and such, but also through, aggressive marketing in the US.
Sure. And today you're pretty much the leader in stickers globally and collectible trading cards primarily in the US, right?
Correct.
So what do you think is the unique DNA in terms of in culture and strategies and the overall value system that help you get into this pole position today?
Right. So again, and it's a number of elements. One of the strategies that we first set out, and when we were talking to the leagues, we were saying that we're globally we're a very aggressive marketing company, and we aggressively market to the consumer on the basis that collectibles very much are, you want to put packets into people's hands so that they can trial the product, and then this thus creates the demand. We often refer to it as the give them the razor and then they'll buy the blade. So we give away a lot of free product directly into consumers' hands to create that trial purchase and make the product collectible. But we're very much a sales and marketing led business. Mm-hmm. Particularly outside of the US, part of the sales and marketing for the US is very much the content that you put within the product. When you're dealing with a product where everybody through the chain expects to make money, so obviously we would very much like to make money. Our licensors would like to make money, whether that be a players association or a sports entity like the NFL or the NBA or FIFA. But then also doing individual contracts with individual athletes, mm-hmm. for autographs for the content within the product. Of course, they would like to get paid for doing that. Distributors want to get paid, retailers want to get paid. But then right at the very end of the spectrum, the consumer in many cases is also looking to make some revenue by selling the product through the mm-hmm. secondary marketplace. So mm-hmm. it's vitally important that you get extremely creative when you're building your product.
Right,
and always build a product that is going to create the demand and the value all the way through the chain.
And to add to that, I would say that there's a multi-tiered strategy when it comes to marketing. There's the grassroots sampling, which Mark talks about in terms of getting the product into the hands of the consumer. But from a culture and a vibe perspective, especially in Panini America, it's very much about how do we be as authentic as possible to the athlete. Because when we resonate with the athlete, then ultimately we resonate with the consumer. And so we do everything we can to be really close to the athlete and utilizing the athlete every way we can, whether that's across social platforms, whether that's through appearances at retail stores, whether that's through TV advertising, or you name it. But so it's multiple touch points, and a lot of that is being driven through social now.
That's awesome. So you're in this wonderful market where everyone is expected to make money, right? Your customer, your players, your associations, you as a company, your distributors, your retailers. Right. So that's kind of quite interesting.
It'd be easier if it was just us making money.
So how do you see the future for your industry, right? I mean, do you see that there are opportunities? Do you see that there are threats? Do you see someone from the far left side coming and trying to do something big in the business? So what are the opportunities and what are the challenges that you see? And also relevant to that would be how has your user base changed compared to like 10-15 years ago?
One of the largest things that we've seen is the way that people are consuming the product. I mean, we're quite fortunate in a way that obviously there's a lot of concern that paper products, and we're predominantly a paper product company, certainly within the physical sense of the trading cards, is that paper products publishing are on a decline. The big difference between what we do in terms of collectibles is the fact that the element of surprise when you open the packet, and the fact that it's a real autograph, a real piece of memorabilia. You've got the very high quality print technology, and although you can replicate some of this within the digital sense, for a lot of people and a lot of collectors, you still can't take away that being able to see it being a real autograph, being able to touch and feel the memorabilia. So we haven't seen the decline from digital that, say, like magazines and publishing have. That being said, there is great opportunity in the fact that everyone has a smartphone. There is a huge demand in sports personalities and images. So the opportunity for us is moving into this area where you can target millennials and a younger age group who are more familiar to life and have grown up on a cell phone, by coming up with digital assets and doing digital trading cards in a completely different format. So we're lucky in some ways that we're not as impacted as most publishers might be with the decline in paper products, but it's an area that we really haven't fully explored yet, but we do have plans to do that in the future. And one of the things that we have seen is that because the whole trading card business has grown and developed, and there is this massive demand for higher end product, and to excel in that product category, we've done a whole wealth of different creativity, from solid gold cards to embedding precious metals in cards, doing diamonds and gems within cards, that the price of the product has continued to creep up. So, like I say, we do trading cards that retail at a very low end, but go all the way up to 5,000. So it has become more difficult to get a youth consumer to enter into that category, just because it is a relatively expensive hobby to be in. So we do see a massive opportunity moving forward to use digital to get that young consumer back into collecting cards at a younger age, and then when they have accessible income as they get older, they can move on to physical product.
Yeah, and to add to that point, from a social perspective in the digital growth opportunity, I mean, we all collect something. I look at my phone and I have 300 different photos on it. That why do I need 300 photos on it? Because those are the ones that are important to me. So in essence, I'm collecting photos. Why aren't they cards of my favorite players? Or the athletes that we want to aspire to be like, or follow every single step of their career. And so that's the opportunity that exists on the digital side of it. To have that right there in your hand, your entire collection in your hand, as opposed to in an album when we were kids, or in a box and making sure that they're pristine as possible and no one can touch them. And share them on.
I mean, the analogy is very much the same, where an elderly person would probably like to have and look at their incredible collection of LPs or DVDs, and of course a young consumer would be like, why on earth would you even do that? I have everything here on my phone, It's just two different types of consumers, and we really want to make sure that we are capturing all levels of consumer.
So what are some of the new strategies that you guys are exploring to be able to come out with these new products, and especially Jason, taking them to the market? What are some of the new capabilities that you are have acquired or looking to acquire, and how has that journey been?
Yeah. I mean, I think first off, just the retail landscape has changed dramatically. You used to go into a store to buy the product. Now you're online. Now we have people that are logging into a channel and watching people open up product late at night, sitting on their couch, hoping that they get the card that they want, that someone's going to show on a screen that's going to be sent to them. So even 5 years ago, that wasn't really in the mix. But as these people came into the marketplace, Panini was one of the first people to welcome them into the community, while others were a little bit not accepting. And so, we jumped on that because we saw the opportunity to, again, engage a younger audience that likes to, take that risk to a certain extent, and, hope that they're going to get something special out of a pack that someone opens, that they might not necessarily be able to participate in if they were doing it on their own.
Yeah, collecting trading cards has always been a social experience. In years gone by, town halls used to be filled on weekends of people coming together to open product, trade amongst themselves, and just a whole community of people collecting and sharing cards together. Now we do the exact same thing, but we do it through digital means. So they'll open product together on a chat forum and chat through blogs. So we're sharing the same experience. We're just doing it in a different format.
So in summary, are you guys happy about entering the digital age in terms of your business, or do you see some more things to concern you, or more things to get you excited and hoping that you can build a bigger book of business?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say it's obviously a challenging area because I think almost all companies right now are trying to figure out how they convert whatever business they have into a digital format in some way, shape, or other. So, I do see this whole area right now as being incredibly saturated. There's just millions of apps available, and it is quite difficult to be the one that is successful. But we're incredibly excited about the opportunity that we have, because the brands that we have, which we're attaching to our digital application, are so strong. I mean, sports personalities across all the US leagues, the soccer players that will perform in this FIFA World Cup. I mean, the amount of touch points that all of these individual athletes have with their fans through their own social media network, the touch points that all the leagues have with all the fans of the sport in general through TV and all of their mechanisms. And the fact that we have these assets and can deliver them in the form of a trading card, whether it be physically or digitally, is an incredibly powerful thing. So, I do believe that this is going to be incredibly exciting for us from a digital perspective. And if we have the right mechanism and can deliver that and allow the younger consumer to get involved, make them feel as if they're connected to the athlete, connected to the sport, the opportunity is huge. It really is huge.
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, I think it's extremely exciting. I think about, one, what we do from a social perspective, whether it's opening up product in our offices and sharing it and talking to the product developers who built it, so that everyone in the world can hear from the product developer what went into the product and how we got to where we got to it.
That's awesome.
You know, or sharing, you know, the images, previewing them before the product is released on Instagram. You know, and building our social community there. But the other thing that's really exciting, and I remember from 2014, and you know, this happened in little stores. You know, when someone would open up a pack and they'd get that special card, the people that were in the store could see it, right? And I just remember that moment in 2014 when someone opened up one of our World Cup Prism packs, and they're just going through and they're videoing I'm opening up my World Cup, and all of a sudden it's just very calm, and this guy from Asia jumps up and he's like, I got a Messi! And literally everyone in the world is, you know, seeing this happen. And so, you know, this excitement that used to just exist in this little tiny store, you know, in this little tiny neighborhood with maybe, you know, 10 or 20 people in the store is now being exposed all over the world, you know, and that excitement just percolates across the board. So, I mean, I get chills thinking about it.
That's amazing, right? So, what do you think that you know, CEOs and CMOs today in a lot of the traditional businesses, you have a new kind of business, the digital native business that we discussed, you know, yesterday, where you have you know, leaders in each industry. Whether you're talking about Uber in transportation, you're talking about Amazon in retail, you're talking about Tesla in automotive. They are kind of pretty much changing the rules of the game. They kind of creating new products, creating new markets, and applying a completely different culture, applying a completely different you know, business model and business fabric, where pretty much the software is the you know, is the company, which allows a lot of flexibility, agility, etc. Right? So, what do you think? You know, the leadership at traditional companies. You know, what do you think they have to learn from some of these digital native enterprises?
A incredibly difficult question to answer, and you know, we're really in the early phases of trying to figure that piece out ourselves, which is why, you know, we're so happy that we found XQ and your team who's helping us navigate this digital area. We do know that, you know, some of the benefits for us as a sports trading card manufacturer is the fact that in the physical sense, when we're doing physical trading cards, it is quite a long process. You know, when you look at the product, some people may think that, you know, it's ink and paper, it would be a relatively simple process, but actually it takes 8 months for us to develop each individual physical product. So, you know, it's a very long time in a industry as sports, which, you know, is changing so incredibly rapidly fast. You know, for example, in a basketball game, the lead can change several times in the space of a 40-minute game.
Right.
And you know, how do you capitalize on that when you're doing a physical product which takes 8 months to build? You know, in the digital sense, obviously we can be reacting to things that are happening almost in real time. So for us, you know, we're still trying to figure that space out, but you know, we know for sure that today's consumer, and this is not going to change. It's going to get even more so. You know, everyone now is impatient. Everyone expects to have almost everything immediately. You know, questions that would go unanswered for a long period of time, now you just go straight onto Google and are answered straight away.
Right.
Everyone has to have immediacy on things, and you know, you can only really do that if you have a digital business. So, you know, it's an area that you just have to be in, and we're looking forward to growing that business and working with you and your team to, you know, see where that takes us.
Right.
And I think the other thing too is that, you know, we went through this experience last year where we were, you know, we're pushing so hard on the digital strategy and what that looks like for us, but you know, how can we leverage that digital immediacy, you know, in our existing business? And so we go from that 8-month window of, you know, capitalizing on a moment to something like Panini Instant, which is real-time performance last night, available next day, real-time, on-demand to the consumer, you know, to capitalize on that moment when Kevin Durant scores 40 points or, you know, Kobe Bryant is celebrating his last game and goes for 60 points. You know, I mean, capitalizing on that moment instead of waiting 8 months through Panini Instant, now through the Panini Direct app, where you can literally get it in your hand and get a notification if you're a Kobe fan or a Kevin Durant fan that card is now available, go get it, and boom, you can do in one touch, get that physical product in your hands, as well as the things that we're doing and pushing forward on the digital side and what that looks like for the future.
Yeah, furthermore, by becoming a digitally native company, how can we do that and it help us also within our physical products? So, through systems and process and efficiency, how do we make that 8-month production cycle go from that length of time to 6 months or 4 months?
Yeah.
So not only are we utilizing digital assets to improve and grow a new business, but we want to use it to also enhance our physical business.
And in this case, you went from 8 months to like 30 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
being able to
create
a new card.
People thought we were crazy, and there's no way we could adapt to it. Even
Right.
people within our building.
Right.
So there are things that are happening overnight. People are staying up and making sure that they see who's the top performer at the end of the game, so that when someone comes in, they're pulling that photo first thing in the morning, and we're submitting it to the league for approval, and it's up by 2 p.m. Central Time on our website and in the Panini Direct app, and available to the consumer before they even have lunch.
Right, and it gives even many more reasons for your audience to connect with Panini, right? Because it's more connected to their sports life today than before, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it also expands the user base too, because the instant card, which is reasonably priced, and you're buying one card, you're buying a moment of what took place in the game. So it becomes more of an impulse purchase, and it could be targeting a more casual fan. Someone that's not going to collect many sets, but wants to own something to remind themselves of a significant moment that happened in a game, so that they can keep and treasure it for a lifetime.
Yeah, and Panini Instant, we're talking a lot about Panini Instant, but I mean, it is that emotional factor. It's that emotional factor of, I took my son to this game, it's the first game they've ever been to, and I want to be able to, memorialize that. And so now, instead of, getting a t-shirt in a store or a little teddy bear with a logo on it, you can get a moment from that game on a card that boy will have for the rest of his life.
yeah, and
that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and I think that's
there's not a lot there's not a lot of products that can have that kind of power.
Yeah, I think that's quite awesome, because while you have a lot of companies trying to use digital to probably have better websites, better mobile apps, you guys are actually creating new products, right? Creating new revenue streams, creating new experiences for your audience that touches them at a very, very personal level, and you're more and more integrated into their life, to their journeys as individuals, as families, right? I think that's awesome, and definitely we need to have more and more companies thinking about new products that are so well integrated into the lives of the users, that add meaning, that add emotion, the immediacy, and all those things. Right?
And then you can both share. This is the great thing about sport. In a lot of entertainment properties, it's almost it can be quite clear who's been targeted. So it's either a youth product, or this is an 18 rated movie, and they're targeting a very certain type of consumer. Sports goes all age groups, and the son could be 7 years old and still have a good conversation or a memory with even a grandparent. And the good thing about trading cards, if you look after them and put them in and encapsulate them in one of our card collectors, you can keep it forever. So you can have a moment 20 years after an event and have that emotional connection with a family member saying, you remember when we went to this game, the NBA Finals, and on the card it's going to tell you that specific moment. It just brings people together.
Right. And so how do you think that companies can work with partners to be able to create some of these new experiences, whether it be conceptualization, or building these experiences, or operationalizing them? Because we've had I would say reasonably successful partnerships. We have a couple of products that are out. There are several more that we are working on bringing together to the market. So for other business leaders, because there could be some mindset that, look, we want to do everything internally, or we want to probably outsource everything to someone else.
Right.
But I think we've engaged in more of a co-creation process, where we've been very closely involved right from the ideation. You guys have made a few trips over the last several months, working with our designers, our engineers to basically get the product together, have multiple viewpoints,
Right.
and things like that, right? So, what is your opinion on how business leaders should engage with partners?
We know, and we knew that we have a good product, and we have assets that are in high demand. Again, using NFL, NBA, or the FIFA World Cup, for example. I mean, FIFA World Cup, global phenomenon.
Right.
When the tournament is on, the world stops and watches. So we know we have a quality product. The expertise and the challenge, if you like, is how do you deliver that to the consumer? How do you let the consumer know about this quality product you've got? And this is where our partnership came in. We knew we had a quality product. What we wanted was a digital expert that could help us in terms of developing the right mechanism to deliver that to the consumer. And then when you deliver it to the consumer, giving them something that they can do to engage with the product and enjoy it on a different level to the physical. So, if you're a business leader and you know you've got a good product, the key to success is finding the right people who know how to build the mechanic to deliver it to the consumer and make it sustainable.
And I think to that point, and to what you said earlier about people outsource it, I think it's so important for people that are in those core businesses to understand what's happening in the digital landscape and try to fold that into their DNA, their personal, professional DNA and the culture of their company. Because that's how you can't think about where your business is right now. You have to think about, yes, this is where my business is. Yeah. Where is it going to be 5 years from now? And it can't be going backwards. And for it to not go backwards, you need to think outward. Right. And so you think about the global phenomenon that happened last summer with a collectible product. That can easily be us in 2018 with the FIFA World Cup. I mean, we just have to leverage it.
I think the mistake that a lot of people make is, you can't do everything. So, I mean, we know that we're incredibly good at making trading cards and delivering assets from a sports perspective, but at the same time, we're not experts in digital. And rather than try and, house that expertise internally, it's always, we believe, better to outsource that to companies whose sole responsibility is to stay on the cutting edge of digital. Because it's an incredibly difficult thing to do for somebody like us. I mean, we're spending a lot of time and focus on remaining on the cutting edge of delivering sports trading cards.
That's true.
You need to rely on somebody else whose sole purpose is to rely on being on cutting edge of digital.
Right.
Because it's very difficult for a sports trading card manufacturer to do both of those two things. So
that's true.
For us, it made perfect sense to align ourselves with a partner like yourselves who are remaining on the cutting edge of digital, so that you can bring the best of both worlds together to bring a product that has the best opportunity of success within the marketplace.
And one final question. So, how have your skills as a hockey man helped you, run a sports trading cards company so successfully?
Well, I don't know about the hockey skills, but I mean, I like to use a term that we use common sense marketing to a certain degree, and I've been within the sports trading card business and collectibles business for over 25 years. I was a consumer of sports collectibles and stickers as a youth, so I mean it's been my entire life. And the one thing that, particularly within the US market, that has made us so successful is that you need to grow your portfolio when you're in a licensed business by working very closely with your partners, being the leagues and the players associations. So we've always wanted to make sure that we portray the athletes in the best light possible, make the athlete look heroic. That's exactly what drives the sales in the first place, the fact that the consumer believes that the athlete is heroic. And that's how you foster good relationships, and that's how you can grow your business.
True. So teamwork is the lesson that you.
Yeah, no question. I mean,
not so much of dribbling.
Yeah, so, I think the one thing you really have to do is you have to surround yourself with quality people. That's one of the things that for me has been a challenge. I like to be pretty hands-on, but you've just got to trust the people around you.
That's true.
And surround yourself by good people, so you know that you're always going to get
like Jason, for example.
I'm glad you said it. I was going to say it, but I figured I'd let you say it.
Right, and I think you guys have an amazing, partnership. Looking at it from a business leadership, and then looking at it from a marketing perspective, and trying to execute the vision that Mark is able to bring to the organization, right? So, Jason, one final word from you. So, what can your fans kind of look forward to from Panini in the next few months or the next 1 year, without really having the horse
I think
don't give the whole game away.
Well, Mark knows how I think about marketing, and so we always like to keep some things close to the vest, and I think the expectation from our fans and from consumers is that we're going to deliver when it comes time, and so we're going to create an amazing experience, amazing way to consume our product, and that goes across the board, whether that's physical or whether that's digital or whether that's around sporting events, you name it. The next few months, and as we lead into World Cup, but we're really excited for it, and we think it's gonna change the collectible marketplace.
Awesome. And as someone who's been working with Mark, Jason, and their team on developing some new, really exciting new products, I think all the fans out there, you have some treats awaiting you that you've never really imagined or seen over the last few years. So if I'm a fan, I would be extremely excited and on the edge of my seat, waiting for what you guys have to bring to the market soon. Right. So hey, thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight, and I really wish both you guys great success in all the new products and the new initiatives that you are launching, and then have a safe flight back.
Great, thanks, Bharath.
Hey, thanks.